Peace, peace, black people. What's happening? It is so good to be black in the land of the living once again. Welcome to Yemima's World, the Jelly Moose's Cafe. I am your hostess, Yemima, and it is good again to be back. It's been a few days that I've done something, had any episodes. Had a busy weekend, started a new summertime work plantation, so been a little busy, but I wanted to come on and just bring an episode tonight. So you can see by the title, it is called The Caucasity. And this episode stems from something I experienced on yesterday. So, for those of you who don't know, the second Saturday of June has been set aside as Ancestor Remembrance Day. And all across the United States, different cities and different states will bring together at the waterfront or whatever waterfront there is available to them, where we go and we honor the ancestors. Where I live, we always have it at Outlook Beach, which was part of Buckrow Beach in Hampton. And so we gather and we bring flowers, and we have drummers, and we have elders to come out and speak. I got to speak a little bit on yesterday, so it was really really nice. The sister, the queen who does this every year, and she's been doing it for I think 13 years now. She'll have part of the beach roped off just for her sacred ceremony. In Hampton, the beach, uh, at the beach, they're fine with her doing that every year. So when she first started doing it, it was a big tree that was sitting not too far from the beach, and we would go out and we would walk around the tree. I think 7 or 9 times. I can't remember how many times, but it was representative of the tree of forgetfulness that they had in Africa. Um, they would have the Africans to walk around this tree they called it the tree of forgetfulness. And the children and the women would walk around 7 times, the men would walk around 9 times. And what the stupid two Bobs thought was that they could make the Africans forget Africa if they walked around this magical tree. Now, if the tree was really that magical, I'm gonna just leave that there. So anyway, we were there, and it was pretty hot yesterday. It started at 11 a.m. and finished up around 1:30, 2 o'clock. But it was really really hot. So the Queen Mother, she had her altar out and kind of in the middle, and had like a circle around her altar, and she had a makeshift tree. Now the tree that we used to walk around, she did that. Like I said, this is like her 13th year, and up until 2 years ago, 2 years ago. So the Europeans that live out there on the waterfront got tired of seeing these Negroes walk around the tree, so they cut the tree down. Yeah, they just cut it down because that's what they do. And they claimed that the tree was diseased, and that's why they cut it down. But there was nothing wrong with that tree. That tree was as healthy as it could possibly be. But they just wanted to take away um, from us. And so we walked around the tree as a remembrance, and not as a tree of forgetfulness, but as a remembrance to remind us of our ancestors. And so the whole ceremony of Remembrance Day for ancestors is basically really to honor the ancestors that perished in the slave trade in the waters. So those that chose to jump and refuse to be enslaved, or those who unfortunately were thrown overboard. Either the load got too heavy and they had to lighten it, and so they would just throw bodies into the water so that they would drown. It is said that the sharks used to follow the cargo ships because they knew that eventually something was going to get thrown over and they could feast on it. That is your evil of lineage in of European people. So while we were sitting there, waiting for the ceremony to start, when me and one of my friends were sitting there, and we were just talking, just chit chatting, and we were maybe 20 feet, 30 feet from the altar. And then all of a sudden, the altar catches fire. It just started burning. There was no incense on the altar. There was no sage on the altar. There was nothing that had fire that would have caught the items that were on the altar to become engulfed in flames. There was a basket. She had a basket on the altar. She had African cloth on the altar. She had some stones. And she had flowers that we were going to give to the ancestors later on. And she has her I call it her dead man, because it's a little skeleton and he's sitting crisscross, and representation of the bones of the ancestors. And so that was sitting there. But all of a sudden they just caught fire. The basket just woof, and I was like, "Oh my God!" And I started screaming, "Fire! Fire! Fire!" And some of the people came over. I had a couple of bottles of water, and we were throwing water on it. And so on the other side of the ropes, of course, the two bobs would be there, because they were still going to come to the beach anyway, because that's just what they do. Now, what pisses me off about this is, now she knows that she can't block off the entire beach. And so it's just a section that she blocks off each year. And the two Bobs are welcome to come and do whatever they do. So this is what they do. She has, we start off on the boardwalk, and she has her signage, and we have a couple of vendors up there, and she has her Sankofa signage. So these mofos just walk through the signage, kicking the letters as they go through. They don't say excuse me. They are the most evilest people, and I know that is not a way that you say it, but I'm going to say it like that because they are double evil. I mean, all you could do, you could walk around and say, "I don't want to, disturb your whatever it is you're doing. Excuse me." They walk, and if they kick the sign, they kick the sign. Just horrible, horrible, horrible people. They are horrible. So the altar has caught fire, and they have put the fire out. And I'm waiting to see her run out there. One of her sons came out, and he put the fire out, and it burnt a hole through the table. It burned up most of the flowers. The basket was completely engulfed in flame. And so I'm like, oh, so apparently one of the ancestors or one of the deities wanted some fire. The energy of fire is strong. It's a very, very, it's a cleansing, but it also is something that you use to fight with. You can use fire to fight your enemies, So I don't know what deity wanted fire. It may have been Shango. I don't know. But the altar caught fire, and there was nothing, again, nothing on it at all for it to catch fire. It just, poof. So we went on with our day. We gave offerings at the waterfront. There were drummers, and afterwards we had people to speak. And um, we had the Black Panthers of Virginia. The original Black Panthers were out there, and we were blessed to have a lady, a queen from New York. She had moved down to Virginia, but she was 72 years old. And in the 70s, she was a member of the original Black Panther Party that started in the 60s and 70s. So it was an honor to be in the presence of such greatness on yesterday. Now, it was for us to honor our African ancestors again that had perished in the waters. And there was a native tribe there as well. And they looked so beautiful. It was a family, and they just looked amazing and so regal. And the queen who does this every year also is of native descent. She is native, she's indigenous to the lands here, but she's also indigenous to Africa, because I believe her mother is indigenous here and her father is indigenous to Africa. So, to have the tribes out there is always a beautiful, beautiful thing. So, as we're going through the ceremony and different people are speaking, everybody was welcome that wanted to come, but they knew what it was, and so those that didn't look like us kind of stayed away. Well,
Our privilege, our privilege outweighs our fears to be in black spaces. Our privilege
so
outweighs our fears to be in black spaces.
yeah, yeah. I look over there and there are two of them just sitting there. They're just sitting there, just as happy and pleased. And I don't know what they were getting out of it except for, I guess, information that they could take back and dispatch to whatever clan they wanted to take back. I guess they were out there to see what the Negroes were doing, what secrets they were telling. Are they planning and plotting? We need to know. So we'll sit out here and look like we're enjoying it. And I mean, they could have been. Maybe they were just sitting there because they wanted. Hmm, I can't even say that. I'm not going to say that they're sitting there because they wanted to honor African ancestors that perished in the waters. I don't know why they were there. I do know that one of my friends, who is a local poet, uh, uh, did spoken word. She did one of her poems, and it was very, very, very straightforward and to the point. And she referenced the Bukra, the Tubab, several times, and not nicely either. She talked of the European cave beast, and so I don't know what they were thinking, listening to that and sitting there in the company of African Americans. Again, uh, we had the Black Panthers out there. We had Black Lives Matter from the Hampton Roads area. We had original Black Panthers. We had the poet who spoke her truth. I talked a little bit and I gave a lesson on cowrie shells, which I'm going to do an episode just to that, and about the sacred things that we have. And so they were very comfortable, and as it says, of course I voiced it, and it says, our white privilege outweighs whatever fears we have. And I was like, if I reverse that, and a black friend of mine, and we went to a place that was an all white affair, or of white people honoring their ancestors, I would not be comfortable. I don't have that luxury, that privilege. Not that I want to be there anyway, but I'm just saying I would not be comfortable being in those spaces where they're screaming, white power, because it's such a difference. Of course, with the Black Panthers, all power to the people, all power to the people, black power. And they were just as comfortable as you please. Now, I didn't see them when they left after the ceremony was over. People kind of scattered, and there were some that kind of hung around. So I don't know where they went to. I know that I hung around and I didn't see them anymore. So it's almost like they were infiltrators. Let's go see what they're talking about. Because if they're talking about some type of revolution, then we need to be prepared. So I just wanted to come on really quick because the caucasity is real. The caucasity is crazy. I don't I don't get it. What were you there for? What were you there for? And how are you just comfortable? Just as comfortable as you want to be. So look, I'm gonna wrap it up because again, I just wanted to come on really quick, and I will be back tomorrow. I don't know what episode I'm gonna do, but I'll be back to kind of do one every day or every other day. But I've been a little tired, and the weekend kind of wore me out a little bit. It's here in the Hampton Roads area. Look like we're going to get a storm, which I hope that we do. Shango showed up because he set that altar on fire, and he can come through again tonight. I'm with it. So next time, you know the drill. Love each other. Love yourself. Give yourself grace. Give each other grace. Um, Stay healthy. Stay happy. Stay safe. Stay black. Until next time, I will see you then.